YouTube, Dawson Rider here. Welcome to my review for Kamen Rider Beast Morphers.
Dawson Rider review.
Hey YouTube, Dawson Rider here. Welcome to my review for Kamen Rider Zero-One Episode 3. Just realized how weird that is to say because Zero-One's in the title and the episode number. So I'm not sure how I'm going to keep up with this. For now, there's enough to talk about because we're early days to do it weekly when I can. But eventually I might go into the 2 episodes a time or catch-up reviews. But I will be covering the series all throughout the year. It just might take on different forms, just FYI, that for those who don't follow it. Because, you know, sometimes there's like long stretches of time where there's nothing to talk about. Like, remember the scene where like they punched the guy and then they tied their shoe? And I'm like, I gotta make this video longer than 15 seconds, right? Like at least 30. So anyway, this was, I almost said this was a big episode. That's like over-exaggerating. Tone it down, Dawson. This was a busy episode because we had 2 debuts, which was officially debuting Valkyrie and then the shark form. And I kind of wish they had waited. Like I talked about in the first 2 episode reviews, how I liked that they actually held off on Vulcan for Star Trek. Held off on Vulcan for episode 2, despite the fact that they put the toy out, because usually they have that weird thing where they think kids are gonna like freak out if they don't see it in the show first when the toy's on the shelf. So I was like impressed that they had the restraint to wait till episode 2 to actually show the morph. I mean, they showed the gun, so technically it's like, okay, cool, you can buy it. It almost left me wishing then that they just debuted the 2 riders on episode 2 because I don't know, I just didn't want them to do 2 debuts at once. Like, I think they could have waited for Shark for next week, because it seems like, it's not like both of them had major plot points of being introduced, but I just prefer it to be spread out. It makes each episode seem special, and I want them to have a little bit more breathing room before we get new forms when we've just debuted the Rider. Like, he's been the Rider for 2 episodes, he's already got more forms. I feel like I'm getting needlessly heated, I'm not even that upset about it. My point is just that I wish they would have waited and done Shark in like episode 4 or something. But there was things I liked about it. Let's talk about Valkyrie first though, because, I mean, we got a little bit of a taste for her character in the first 2 episodes, but not really enough on her perspective, because we sort of saw, you know, Aruto's and Vulcan's, I don't know if you can tell, I can't remember his name yet, so I'm calling him Vulcan, their perspectives on a certain incident, and as such, their perspectives on the world and the human gears. So we needed to know what her perspective was, and thankfully we didn't find out she was also at the incident, but she got a 3rd perspective. Now they'll probably do that because I just said it. Her perspective is basically sort of somewhere in the middle and very pragmatic. Like, she's thinking like, yes, human gears are useful. They have a place in society. No need to be a robot racist Vulcan. But if they need to be destroyed, they need to be destroyed because they're just tools and you can just back their AI up anyway. I'm gonna be honest, I think she's got the best approach. It's like the most balanced and the least crazy on both sides. Because on one side, Vulcan's going full Will Smith iRobot, first 3/4 of that movie, and then you have Aruto being like, friendship is dreams and magic! I'm like, that has nothing to do with robots. She made a good point, like, just back their AI up. Like, just saving their body doesn't mean you protected Smiles, like, yeah. So, I don't know, I think she's got the best approach. We're probably ultimately going to be told she's wrong, because the protagonist can be the only one right about it. It's like in X-Aid, where I thought both Brave and X-Aid had good approaches to taking on patients. That makes it sound like they're gonna fight the patient. Like, their approach to dealing with patients I thought were both valid depending on the situation, but they always want the protagonist and their nonsense to be right. So my point is, I like Valkyrie's perspective. I think it's good, I think that it's a little bit more balanced, and I think that there's, you know, it's like less extreme on both sides, like I said, and I kind of like her character in general. And man, do all the suits look good? Like, I liked them all okay. They looked a little weird in the scans, but in the show they all look good. Like, hers looks really cool. She transforms very similar to Vulcan, but she uses the actual belt transformation rather than off the belt, and she like runs into it rather than punches the bullet, which makes sense. It's a cheetah, I get it, I guess, but it's not as cool as him punching the bullet. Like, I was kind of expecting for something unique, but maybe they could do something unique in the future, like maybe she'll wall run and transform or something. Like, that would be kind of neat. But she does wall run at one point, so her debut was cool, just superficially. Like, that's another thing, is that so far this show has a lot of style between the tech and the fights. Like, it's just very visually appealing and sleek to watch, and like, her fight was really slick and I liked it a lot. So I liked her. I mean, it wasn't her debut, I keep saying that, I feel, but you know what I mean, like her actual transformation debut and kind of fully introducing that. Also, side note, while I'm thinking about it, apparently Vulcan still has to, like, force open the progress key. I honestly thought after he first transformed, they were just gonna let it go. I'm really hoping that within a couple episodes, her or somebody at Ames just lets it go, because I don't want to have to see him pretending that it's hard to open a progress key every time that happens. That would be kind of annoying. And then we debuted Shark, which it was a big debut because it was like debuting the way that the ability forms are going to debut. How many times did I just say debut just then? Debut. I just debuted that joke. I like the way it's done. Like I said, I wish they would have just held off on it. But I like the way that they do it. It's kind of funny because when we were introduced to his base and his office, like he's got his office and then right down here is kind of like a training tech base thingy. And there's like this little tech photo booth that reminded me, when I first saw it, I'm like, oh, that reminds me a lot of Build's base when she would go into there and she would make the bottles. And that's basically what happens here. They analyze data from the Huma Gear of the week, or the Magir or whatever, and they have the machine analyze it and say, what's the best approach? And then based on that, like this one was like a squid monster, and based on that, it came up with a shark key. I think that's really neat. I dig that a lot. Like, it's a really cool way of explaining it, like, okay, we need something very specific to deal with this, go gadget shark. I thought that was a cool way to go about it. There was also some really funny moments later on or before I get to the Shark's debut, I wanted to mention there were some really funny moments when they first encountered Squid Monster, when Vulcan and Zero-One were both fighting it, and like Zero-One got wrapped up in the squid tentacles, and like after the squid takes off, he kind of realizes, like he was standing next to Vulcan, then he realizes, oh crap, I'm next to Vulcan, he's gonna try to shoot me. So he kind of like hops away, and like literally, he hops away, and then Vulcan goes to shoot him, and he cuts off the ropes, and he's like, oh, thanks, guy. So there was actually some pretty fun interplay there. But as for the debut itself, it was cool. I really do like the shark form a lot. Like, it's probably one of my more favorite ability form suits. And I like the way it's done, where a lot of it looks like it could be a full-on different rider, but then you can also see how, like, the main rider helmet opens up and stuff like that. I feel like I was just playing peekaboo there. But so I really do dig it. I thought it had a cool debut. I really like its awesome shark fin finisher. Shark fin finisher. That sounds like the name of a song for some reason, or a band or something. The only other thing worth of note, I mean, there was a plot about this sushi Huma Gear and this cranky restaurant owner that didn't think that he had the soul to make sushi, and like, it was fine, it was whatever. It just wasn't as interesting as the other stuff I wanted to talk about, but you kind of see the point of what they were going for and kind of reinforced Aruto's idea and his perspective. But the only other thing I really wanted to note was at the end, Valkyrie was talking to somebody about, she does apparently know, because she's got the investigative prowess, that Zero-One is Aruto, the CEO, and it's unclear who she's promoting to. She's like, Sparkle Suds, dress loud. Clear who she was reporting to. Like, I wasn't sure if it was meant to be somebody from Ames or if she's working with somebody else, like possibly Soul Technologies. Wait, that's brain. So that was kind of an interesting beat. It very much reminded me of classic Heisei Rider, where like you have a little bit of that mystery going on. So I definitely hope it's something a little more straightforward than just her boss, but who knows, maybe next week we'll meet him and he's just like Ames' boss. Maybe he's assistant to the Ames boss, we don't know. Anyway, that's about it though. Overall, I thought it was a very solid week again. I'm really, really enjoying the show a lot. I'd probably give this episode an 8. I think it was a little rushed because I just wish they would spread the debuts out. That way you have something new every episode, but it was still very enjoyable and I'm looking forward to more. Let's hope they can keep this up and they don't completely bungle this. That's about it for this one. Until next time, remember to like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell to see notifications for my videos. Till next time, Dawson Rider, signing out.